Yo, what up? My name is Mordechrist. I'm a new producer. I've been producing for about a year now. On YouTube, there's a lot of, well-known producers on here, a lot of experienced producer giving up a lot of game. And it's great to learn from those dudes. But I don't see a whole lot of people in the process of learning like I am. I've come across a few producers. I'm hoping with my experience, maybe I can shed some light on the few things that I've learned in the 1 year that I've been producing. So I got like 4 or 5 things. I guess we'll see at the end of the video how many it ends up being. But yeah, without further ado, these are my 4 or 5 things that I've learned in my 1 year of producing. And it's a little bit of a disclaimer. This video is obviously not for experienced producers. You guys already know what you're doing. This video is mainly intended for people who may be thinking about learning how to make beats or producing, or maybe you're just under that 1 year mark. Maybe I've stumbled across something that could help you along the way, maybe help you think about some things a little bit different. All right, so my first thing that I've learned in my 1 year of making beats is that making beats, or the decision to make beats, is not one topic to learn. First of all, let's read off a list of them that I have here, of things you need to learn. You need to learn your DAW, right? Whatever program you end up choosing, you have to learn that program. To some extent, you're learning music theory, especially as you get more advanced and start learning how notes work together and all that. Or you want to make your songs more cohesive, you have to learn a bit of music theory. You have to learn about sound selection and why certain sounds go together and why some don't. You need to learn about songwriting, beat arrangement, mixing, mastering to a certain extent. That's more later down the road, but you get what I'm saying. So making beats is not just one topic. If that's not something you're familiar with going into it, it's really easy to become overwhelmed with everything you need to learn and everything you need to try to figure out. So right off the bat, just know it's a lot to learn, but it's definitely possible if you take it one step at a time. You can learn all the music theory, possible, but if you don't know how your DAW works or how to navigate it, then you're not gonna be making any music, right? So first things first, out of all those topics that I just listed off, if you can cross out some of them or ignore some of them at the beginning, that's gonna make your life a lot easier. A mistake that I made when I was starting, I would try to make, a chord progression from not knowing anything, right? And then I would try to mix it and add some drums to it, and then it would just sound terrible. Then I'm just mixing a bunch of garbage that doesn't sound good no matter what I do to it, right? One of the easiest ways to make things a little bit easier for yourself is to just start using loops. Don't let what anyone says about using loops get to you. If someone's giving you shit for it, don't listen to them. There's definitely a lot of fun in making your own stuff and creating your own chord progressions and leads and all that, but at the beginning, if you need to use loops just to learn your DAW, do it. There's really no shame in that. Hip hop is based off of sampling. It's based off of ripping this from that and flipping this and reversing that, Dude, use the tools that are at our disposal, right? Why go about something the hard way when there's an easier way to go about it? If you tell someone you use loops, the only person that's really gonna care is maybe another producer, but even then, a good song's a good song whether you use loops or not, you still made it, you still put it together, you still had the ear for it, so use whatever you wanna use. One thing I will say about using loops, you may find that you will get bored of it. I got bored of it very quickly, probably about like 6 months in. And I also didn't like that while I was using loops, I felt like I couldn't make anything, like if I wanted to sit down and make a beat, I couldn't make anything if I didn't find a loop that I liked. And that really bothered me. So after a while, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna learn some music theory. I'm gonna figure out how to play some stuff and make my own stuff. But to start, start with loops, start with things that already sound good, right? If you start with loops, there's really not much you have to do, to them in terms of making them sound good, in terms of mixing and, compression and all that stuff. It's already done for you. So if you want to get comfortable with your DAW, start by just dragging in some loops, that are all in the same key. It's really easy to figure out what key things are in nowadays. So if you find a loop that you like and it's an F major, find another loop or a lead that you like that's also an F major, drop it in over it and see what happens. Now, try to add an effect to it that's already in your DAW. Try to, learn all your keyboard shortcuts so you can duplicate stuff and copy stuff and reverse stuff. The best way to be able to stick to something is to keep it fun. And when things get a little too challenging or too overwhelming, it makes it really hard to stay consistent. So, everything has a step one. I firmly believe that. Anyone can learn how to do anything. So if you at times feel frustrated or overwhelmed by it, just dial it back. Maybe you're not ready for what you're trying to do yet. Maybe you need to do some learning first. Probably people from all ages are gonna be watching this video. To give you guys a little bit of a background on me, I'm 31 years old. I have a career, I work full time. So my free time is, kind of limited. Granted, I'm not married and I don't have any kids, so I definitely have more free time than most. But if you do have those things, making learning as easy as possible is going to be even more important, right? Because you have so little time. Just try to make things as easy as possible, the easiest way that you can. Generally, what I've found, using loops to get started, that's the way to go. Find yourself a loop pad, get a membership on Splice, whatever you got to do. The easier you can make things on yourself, you will learn faster, you will be more likely to stick with it, and then you'll just be able to gradually see your progression over time. Yo, really quick, just want to let you guys know this video is sponsored by fucking no one. So if you like it, please subscribe, like the video, all that shit. So also let me know your thoughts down here. All right, back to the video. All right, next thing I have learned since started making beats is you gotta be careful with tutorials, right? So what do I mean by that? So at first, with whatever DAW that you choose, you're gonna need to watch tutorials, right? You're gonna need to watch a lot of tutorials. So there's no way around it. You're just gonna have to watch a lot of them, which is a good thing. Do all the learning you can at the start because it's gonna make things a lot easier. However, and this is a big however, if you have a limited amount of time to dedicate to this hobby, right? Don't let tutorials check the box in your head that you're putting time into the hobby, right? You technically are, because you are going out of your way to learn, and you may, pick up on some things you didn't know before. But let's say you have 1 hour every night to make beats or to produce or whatever, right? If you sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna watch a few tutorials, and then you watch another one, then you watch another one, then you watch another one. Next thing you know, your hour is up and then you have to go to bed or whatever. It's really easy to just feel like you're accomplishing something watching tutorials, but really where you're gonna accomplish things is in the music that you're making, when you're applying what you're learning to the music that you're trying to make. You need to have a healthy balance with it, because what I noticed with myself, maybe some of you have experienced this, is I would watch tutorials. I watch a lot of tutorials, right? And then I would notice myself not making anything after watching the tutorials, right? And I would always wonder why that was. Why am I not making anything? Why do I just want to watch these tutorials, like, instead of actually making something, right? And it took me a little bit to figure out, but the reason why I was doing that, and maybe some of you experience this too, is I didn't want to sit down to make something because I was afraid I was going to make something that sucked or something that I didn't like. I didn't want to sit down and make something after doing all this work, watching tutorials, right? And then still make something that was trash and be disappointed in myself and then say, you know what, screw this, I'm not doing this, I suck at it. If you only have an hour every night, maybe only watch, a couple tutorials, 20 minutes at the most. Then the rest, the 40 minutes that you have left, dedicate that to just making stuff. Whatever ratio you're comfortable with, right? If you need 30 minutes tutorials, then 30 minutes of music making, whatever. But whatever you do, make sure that you are actually making stuff. That's the most important part. That's what's gonna get you better. That's what's gonna get you more comfortable in the DAW. And then you're not gonna remember everything that you watch anyway, right? So you might as well, learn a few things, then take that, apply it to the DAW, put some ideas down. Eventually you'll just be making stuff, and you'll only need tutorials for, things here and there. The next thing I learned after making beats for 1 year, and that is just accept that you're gonna make trash. Everything you make is not gonna be great, and that's okay. You may make trash for a full week, but then the next 3 beats are bangers back to back to back. That's just how it is. The sooner that you accept that the first year of beats is gonna be trash, the easier it is. Because when you start making stuff, there's no expectations. That, maybe what you're gonna make is not gonna be that great. But I forget who said this originally, it might've been Decap, don't quote me on that, but he's another YouTuber. I believe the quote was, every trash beat you make gets you closer to the great beats, or the beats that you wanna make, right? So you gotta go through all the trash first to then get to the best, the best music that you can make. And I'm not saying that I don't make trash, right? I'm listening to a beat that I made yesterday and I'm like, man, this is trash, But that's okay. I'm gonna make a different one. I'm gonna make something else and I'm gonna like that one better, hopefully. Just accept that you're gonna make stuff that doesn't sound great, and it takes time, and it takes, some people say the first beats that you make in the first 2 years are all trash. right? Because you're just learning, you're just figuring stuff out, you're learning about, you know, all those different topics that I brought up. Just be patient with yourself. You may be making trash for a week, but then the bangers will start flowing, and then you'll go through another wave of trash, and then another wave of bangers, and that's just kind of how it goes. So the sooner you accept that, the better producer you're gonna be overall. All right, one of the last things that I learned in my first year of making beats, music theory is not as scary as you think it is in your head. This whole beat making thing, I was kind of like, man, I don't know anything about notes or what notes fit together or anything. The whole idea of music theory just seems so like, just far-fetched to me. I was like, I will never be able to understand that, right? But something as simple as learning the major and minor scales, which took me probably like 15 minutes a day for a month to learn and figure out, that has completely changed the game. Along with learning a little bit of keyboard, it's not as scary as you think, but will take you very far. And music theory seems like this massive, like insurmountable task, but really it is not that difficult. And I'm not saying you need to become Mozart overnight. I'm just saying, hey, learn the major and minor scales. That way when something is in F major, F minor, whatever, you already know what notes work. Okay, so I bought Ableton on February 18th, 2024. So a year and a month as of the recording of this video. So I have a folder on Google Drive where I upload all my beats to that I let my homie listen to. I think I can find something in there to show you guys. Maybe I'll even compare like something I made in the early days and then compare it to something I've made recently. You guys can let me know if you hear the difference or if you feel like I've improved. Those are gonna be my main things, guys. So make learning as easy as possible. Cut out all the bullshit. Just learn the DAW, use some loops. Just, you know, whatever time that you have to dedicate to the hobby, just make it as efficient as you can, because I've been there trying to make that shitty chord progression sound good and it's just trash, and you know, made me not want to do anything with it anymore. Be careful with tutorials, watch them, but also make sure you're dedicating the time to actually making stuff too. And if you find yourself binging tutorials for, you know, a long time and you're not making anything, ask yourself why. And chances are it's because you're worried you're gonna make something trash, like I was. So careful with tutorials, realize that you're gonna make trash for a while. I think that's it. I think those are the main things. So yeah, let's do a little exercise really quick and I'll show you what I mean about, you know, knowing music theory. All right, this is gonna be so fucking ghetto, but here's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna find a random, you know, let's say Splice, or let's say, we'll use Splice as an example. So I'm gonna find something random on Splice, then I'm gonna show you how easy it is to learn a couple things about music theory and then apply it. Let's find something first on Splice and then I'll start the timer. So let's see, I don't know, guitar. Let's just look guitar and see what happens. That actually goes pretty crazy. All right, let's use this one. All right, let's get it. I might speed this up a little bit so you guys don't have to watch all this stuff. So we are at 23 minutes. I wanted to add some chords under, so yeah. But anyway, so I'm gonna play this for you. You guys let me know, or I should probably arrange this a little bit. Hold up. Oh, whoops. And I'll mute it for you guys to see like what I added to it. So these are the elements I added without the original Splice sample, so you can hear it. It actually goes crazy by itself, and I used that Splice sample as like my starting line, and I got to that point, because I knew the G sharp minor scale. You could set the scale to G sharp minor, and technically you could get to the same place even without knowing the scale. But what I've found is when I'm actually playing the keyboard, I think of different things than I would have if I would have just keyed it in on the MIDI. I don't know what it is about like using your hands like on a keyboard, but way different ideas come out when I'm actually like hands to the keys than when I'm just playing straight up MIDI. So, all right, bro, that's the fucking video. All right, I forget all the topics I listed off, but you know, you guys get the idea. All right, I could probably go more in depth with other topics or any of the topics that I've discussed. That's just, you know, off the top of my head. But yeah, man, if you like it, fucking subscribe. If you want me to talk more in depth about any of the things I did talk about, let me know. Shoot me a comment, or you want to just discuss, or I'm happy to give any advice. I'm not a platinum producer. I'm just a dude that has a job. I like music, and I'm gonna keep making it. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm out. Peace.